Hello and welcome back to the Case Foundation's Facebook Live studio at the American Cities House at South by Southwest. We have a real surprise treat here today. I am joined by U.S. Senator from Kansas, Jerry Moran. And Senator Moran, you just came straight off of a panel with one of our grantees, actually the Center for American Entrepreneurship, talking about the Startup Act and the work that you've done to be a champion of entrepreneurship across our country. Why don't we do, a quick summary of what is the Startup Act and why are you committed to supporting entrepreneurs?
Sarah, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here with you and our viewers across Facebook. Entrepreneurship matters to this country, and we're at a point in time in our history in which we can't let the number of new businesses continue to diminish, the rate of growth to be less than it should be. And what that's really about is the American dream. Everybody gets a chance to do something with their life, and that's what our country stands for. And too often we've had too many barriers that get in the way of that entrepreneurial, that startup activity. Case Foundation and others have been so supportive, so thank you very much. We appreciate the relationship we have with you. But a number of years ago, I teamed up with Mark Warner. I would tell you that a report landed on my desk that outlined the problems with entrepreneurship, the lack of job growth, new businesses, the starts were diminishing, and that document had some policy recommendations, and we captured those and put them into legislation, and we're actively working to see that Congress passes something we now call Startup 3.0, our third version of this legislation, designed to get rid of barriers related to regulations, the regulatory environment, access to capital, the tax code. Perhaps the most important is access to global talent. And so entrepreneurs need immigration changes, such as a startup visa, entrepreneurial visas, STEM visas, trying to get people who have the ability, the talent, the capital, the intellect to come to the United States, to be in the United States and use their skill set and their intellect to create more jobs. It's also trying to get federal research that is funded by the taxpayer to get it into the market, to get it to a business more quickly where they can use that research to commercialize and develop their products. So it's really what I'd say some common sense things. Perhaps the most challenging, maybe it's the most important, but the most difficult relates to immigration because Congress struggles with immigration issues on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different ways that this policy is supporting entrepreneurs. At the Case Foundation, we're particularly committed to inclusive entrepreneurship, and so looking at supporting women entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs of color, and people who don't exist in kind of the typical entrepreneurship hubs in our country. How do you see the Startup Act benefiting some of the underrepresented entrepreneurs in our country?
Well, first of all, entrepreneurs and startups entrepreneurship and startups create great opportunities for everyone, and there's no geography. There's no race, there's no gender issues. Somebody who wants to start a business has that capability. We want to reduce the barriers for everyone so that it increases their chances of success. And I would certainly agree with you about trying to make certain that it's a broad-based opportunity. I know as a Kansan, coming from a rural state, that too often we see the opportunities, at least the belief is the opportunities are in a handful of places across the country. We want to make certain that entrepreneurs in Kansas, rural and suburban, urban places, have a chance for the success in a startup business. And so the Startup Act is certainly neutral, but in a sense of you could be an entrepreneur any place in the country and have the benefits accrue. But if we can help level the playing field, and part of this is just education. I notice when I visit with somebody, a high school student, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or a college student, what are you going to do? What's next in your life? Almost no one says, I want to start a business or I want to work for myself. And so we need to change the mindset across the country in all categories of people that the answer is, I'm thinking what I really want to do is start a new business. Yeah. That's the attitude we need across the country. And part of Startup 3.0 in the legislation certainly is about provisions in law, but it also gives me and other senators the opportunity to promote entrepreneurship within our states, that go out and visit with a high school class or visit an entrepreneur and then tell the story on social media. There's a story that needs to be told. Startup is a vehicle by which we can talk about the values of entrepreneurship, and it can educate, encourage, develop a skill set in people across the country, wherever they live.
That's amazing. And we know that, there are entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs that exist in communities all over the place. And so love to have the opportunity to lift them up and to be those role models and the inspiration points that you've talked about for the next generation of entrepreneurs as well. So my final question for you today is, we get asked a lot of times from both organizations and individual citizens about what is the role of policy in supporting entrepreneurship ecosystems? What can people do to try to help to make sure entrepreneurs are as supported as they possibly can be? Do you have any advice to people about ways they can get engaged?
Well, I would say that the people who have worked to influence policymakers' decisions in the nation's capital, they're often much more advanced along in their careers. They have more financial substance. So there's lots of businesses, organizations who are encouraging a specific policy development. Entrepreneurs don't necessarily have the money. They certainly don't have the time. And so the efforts of Case Foundation and others on their behalf. But the best thing an entrepreneur, in my view, can do is contact their United States representative, their U.S. senator. Invite them to come see what takes place, what's going on in their mind. Tell their story, see their business. And I will tell you that it's something that bridges the unfortunate gap that exists in our political system today between Republicans and Democrats. I don't know of a member of Congress that if you got their attention and let them see, experience what entrepreneurship is, to know what a startup is, to meet a person. All politics in a sense is personal. Connect with somebody and tell your story, and I don't have any doubt but what that member of Congress then becomes an advocate for your success, for a new business. And take the photograph, get it on social media, tell the story. Elected officials want to be seen with particularly young entrepreneurs. And there's a real political opportunity for people to take advantage of that. Capture our attention and let us spend time with you, and we'll become your advocates.
Well, wonderful. We know that there are a lot of startups out there who are, capturing our attention today here at South by Southwest. And, it was really lovely to connect with you, Senator. And we wish you the best of luck in everything that you are doing to support entrepreneurs, and hope you enjoy the rest of your time here at South by Southwest.
Sarah, so good to be with you. So good to be back at South by. This is my 6th or 7th visit to South by Southwest.
You are a veteran. Maybe we should be looking to you for advice on where the best places are. I still think there's a lot of people
and a crowd, and traffic is still a problem.
Well, maybe we'll fix those next year. But thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to all of our Facebook Live viewers. We will be back with you in about a half an hour with our next round of interviews.